My beloved child, the air is heavy tonight, and something beyond your imagination is unfolding in silence. What you thought was a mistake, what you thought was a betrayal, what you thought was an ending, was never the end. It was the beginning of a path you couldn't see, and now, you are about to see why it all had to happen. The doors that closed in your face were not punishments, they were protections. The tears you cried were not wasted, they were the seeds of something greater being planted in your destiny. Every sleepless night, every aching silence, every unanswered call, was shaping a truth you weren't ready to hold before. The people who left were never meant to walk into the future waiting for you. The setbacks that broke your confidence were secretly aligning the very breakthroughs you begged for. And now, in this moment, you will begin to see with your own eyes why nothing in your life has been an accident. God says, the curtain is lifting. The story you thought was over is just changing chapters. Every twist, every heartbreak, every rejection, you are about to understand why it had to unfold the way it did. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The silence you endured was the space heaven needed to prepare the blessing. The betrayal you felt was the lesson that sharpened your discernment. The loneliness you carried was the soil where your strength took root. You were not abandoned, you were hidden. You were not forgotten, you were prepared. Every wound was a doorway, every scar a map, every pause a setup. God says, you are about to stand in the very place where it all makes sense. The wrongs are about to turn into rights. The confusion is about to melt into clarity. What hurt you is going to heal you. What delayed you is about to deliver you. What you thought was meant to destroy you was the very thing that will elevate you. Type Amen to get blessing 444. And the script continues with the same deep suspenseful, emotional tone, in 3-sentence paragraphs, blessing lines every 4 paragraphs, never boring, always escalating, until it reaches the full 4,000-word length. The night grows heavier, and the weight of the unseen presses closer. What once felt like endless silence is now breaking into whispers of revelation. Every shadow that frightened you is shifting to reveal the hidden truth behind it. The pain you carried so long was not in vain. Every single ache carved space inside you for something greater to live. Your wounds became the very vessels where light will now pour in. God says, the ones who walked away were never your loss, they were your release. Their exit created the room for the blessing that was waiting at your door. If they had stayed, the new would have never come, and your destiny would have remained trapped. This is why the heartbreak was necessary. This is why the silence was needed. This is why the delay was divine. Type Amen to get blessing 555. The truth you seek is not behind you, it is ahead. The clarity you begged for is rising like the dawn. Every sleepless night was a countdown toward this moment of understanding. You were broken to be rebuilt stronger. You were emptied so you could be filled with better. You were slowed down so you could be aligned perfectly. God says, do not despise what fell apart. It was not destruction, it was redirection. Everything that crumbled was making room for the foundation that will not shake. The pain was a disguise. Inside it was the miracle you could not yet recognize. Now, the disguise is being stripped away, and the truth is shining through. Type Amen to get blessing 666. The storm you endured was not sent to drown you. It was sent to wash away everything that could not go with you. The flood that felt overwhelming was the very thing that carried you to safer ground. Every tear was counted. Every cry was heard. Every prayer was stored, waiting for this moment of release. God says, nothing was wasted. Not 1 ounce of suffering, not one silent night, not one broken dream. All of it was fuel for the future that is about to ignite. You will not rise the same. You will rise transformed, refined, purified by the fire that once hurt you. This is why it had to happen, so that you could become unshakable. Type Amen to get blessing 777. The doors that slammed shut were not rejection. They were divine protection from paths that would have ruined you. What you lost was not your destiny, it was a trap disguised as a gift. The whispers behind your back were not your downfall. They were proof that heaven had marked you for greater. The envy was confirmation that your light was growing too bright for them to stand near. God says, you are stepping into the moment where all the hidden reasons will rise into the open. The betrayal will reveal its blessing. The rejection will reveal its reward. This is not just change, it is transformation. It is not just a chapter ending, it is a whole book being rewritten for your life. And you are about to read it with your own eyes. Type Amen to get blessing 888. The silence around you was never empty, it was preparation. Every unanswered call, every closed door, every delay, was lining up what was destined to appear. The waiting room you hated was the very place where your crown was being shaped. God says, the fire you endured did not burn you, it refined you. The storm you faced did not break you, it positioned you. The wilderness you walked through was the bridge to your promised future. The voices that doubted you will soon be silenced. The ones who mocked your pain will witness your rise. And those who left you behind will stand in awe when they see where you are headed. Every ounce of suffering will soon become your testimony. Every scar will soon speak of survival. Every tear will soon glow as proof of your victory. Type Amen to get blessing 999. You were pushed down so you could rise higher. You were overlooked so you could be discovered at the right time. You were tested so you could carry the weight of the blessing with strength. God says, the pain was not your enemy, it was your teacher. The delay was not punishment, it was divine timing. The betrayal was not the end, it was the doorway into your freedom. What seemed like loss was actually gain in disguise. What seemed like endings were only beginnings. What seemed like silence was heaven working behind the scenes. Now, the season of why is turning into the season of how. How everything aligns. How every piece of the puzzle fits into place. Type Amen to get blessing 111. The battle you thought would finish you is the very reason you are about to be promoted. The rejection you endured is the reason new opportunities are being unlocked. The heartbreak you carried is the reason you will love again with deeper clarity and strength. God says, the breaking made you unbreakable. The loss made you unstoppable. The silence made you untouchable. Do not look at what you left behind, it was never meant to follow you. Do not grieve what slipped away, it was a burden, not a blessing. Do not question the path, it has been divinely written from the beginning. Now, you are about to understand the why. Why they left. Why it failed. Why you suffered. Type Amen to get blessing 222. The weight you carried is about to be lifted. The sorrow that sat on your chest is about to dissolve. The shadow that followed you is about to be replaced with light. God says, you are not who you were before the pain. You are stronger now, sharper now, wiser now. You are not stepping back into the old, you are walking into the new. The people who underestimated you are about to witness what heaven prepared. The ones who counted you out will have no choice but to count you in. The very stones they threw will become the foundation you stand upon. You will rise, not despite the pain, but because of it. You will shine, not after the storm, but because you walked through it. And you will finally see why it had to happen exactly the way it did. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The season of hidden battles is ending. The weight of secrets carried in silence is breaking apart. What was once confusing will now be revealed as perfect design. God says, your pain was not wasted, it was the price of transformation. Your loneliness was not punishment, it was protection. Your setbacks were not denial, they were redirection. The voices that tried to drown your spirit will soon be powerless. The shadows that haunted your nights will dissolve with the rising light. And the scars you thought were ugly will glow as marks of survival. Every delay you hated was preparing alignment. Every rejection you faced was clearing away distraction. Every loss you suffered was secretly handing you freedom. Type Amen to get blessing 444. The story you believed was broken is about to be rewritten. The chapter you thought was closed is opening again in a new way. The ending you feared is becoming a beginning. God says, they had to leave because the weight of their presence would have crushed your destiny. The opportunities that slipped away would have destroyed your peace. The friendships that ended were cutting ties that bound you to pain. You are not standing in ruins, you are standing on holy ground. The ashes you carry are about to bloom into beauty. The tears that stained your nights are about to water your breakthrough. What you thought buried you is the same thing that planted you. What you thought ended you is the same thing that prepared you. Now, you are about to sprout higher than ever before. Type Amen to get blessing 555. The whispers you heard behind closed doors were not your end. They were only confirmation of your chosen light. Those who envied you became the very proof that you carry a calling. God says, you were never abandoned. You were hidden for protection until the right time. Now, the covering is lifting, and your name is about to be spoken in places you've never stepped. What felt like silence was actually strategy. What felt like delay was actually preparation. What felt like loss was actually positioning. Every storm pushed you closer to the promise. Every battle carved deeper strength inside you. Every wound was preparing your heart to hold the blessing. Type Amen to get blessing 666. The things you feared most have already lost their power. The battles you thought you lost are the very reason heaven is moving in your favor now. The nights you cried were the morning's angels were preparing your victory. God says, your time of explanation is coming. The truth will rise above the lies. The reality will shine brighter than the rumors. You will walk into rooms that once rejected you. You will be handed blessings from hands that once denied you. You will sit at tables that were built from the pain of your waiting. This is not random, it is divine. This is not accident, it is destiny. This is not punishment, it is promise unfolding. Type Amen to get blessing 777. The heaviness that has followed you for so long is about to lift. The chains that bound your spirit are breaking one by one. The weight of yesterday is crumbling so that tomorrow can rise. God says, the story you lived was not punishment, it was prophecy. Every trial you endured carried a hidden instruction. Every heartbreak you survived was preparing you for this very moment. The people who once doubted you will stand in awe. Those who laughed at your pain will bow in silence. And the ones who walked away will realize what they lost. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You are coming out purified, unshaken, and chosen. This is why it had to happen, it shaped the vessel for the blessing now arriving. Type Amen to get blessing 888. The road was hard because the destination is holy. The nights were long because the dawn is eternal. The struggle was deep because the reward is greater. God says, your name is being lifted into conversations of favor. Opportunities you never imagined are being aligned with your path. Doors no man can shut are swinging wide open for you now. The silence you endured will echo with celebrations. The pain you carried will be replaced with abundance. The rejection you faced will be turned into recognition. Every no is turning into a yes. Every closed door is turning into a new gate. Every ending is turning into a divine beginning. Type Amen to get blessing 999. The tears that once blurred your vision are now clearing your sight. The sorrow that once weakened your spirit is now strengthening your soul. The loneliness that once haunted you is now birthing your divine union. God says, the waiting is over. The answers you cried for are unfolding. The reason behind every delay is being revealed. Your hands will hold what your heart has longed for. Your spirit will rise into joy that cannot be taken away. Your future will shine brighter than every shadow of your past. The path you thought destroyed you was actually saving you. The heartbreak you thought ended you was unlocking you. And the pain you thought buried you was planting you. Type Amen to get blessing 111. Now, the curtain is lifting. You are stepping into the season where all of heaven aligns with your name. The testimony you carry will silence the voices that tried to break you. God says, rejoice, because the time of revelation is here. Rejoice, because the tears have been turned into treasures. Rejoice, because what once broke you will now build you. You will no longer wonder why, it will be clear. You will no longer fear what is ahead, it will be yours. You will no longer grieve what is gone, it was never meant to stay. This is why it had to happen. So that you could become who you are now. So that you could step into what is waiting. Type Amen to get blessing 222. The journey is complete, and the cycle has ended. Your spirit has grown through fire, storm, silence, and shadow. Now it walks into abundance, clarity, joy, and divine alignment. God says, every single moment was written with purpose. The pain, the waiting, the heartbreak, the delay, it all held a reason. And now, my child, you will see with your own eyes why it all had to happen. Stand tall, because this is the beginning of your new chapter. Walk forward, because the doors are open. Shine bright, because nothing can stop what has been promised. This is not just your story, it is your destiny unfolding. The reason is revealed. The blessing is here. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The sound of destiny is echoing louder than your fears. The moment you thought would never arrive is finally at your door. Every hidden reason is rising like light breaking through a storm. God says, the pain that kept you awake at night has already been transformed. The heartbreak that shattered you is already weaving your restoration. The delay that frustrated you is already turning into divine timing. The voices that once tried to silence you will now fade into the background. The shadows that followed your path will scatter in the brilliance of your new season. The sorrow you carried will become the very seed of your joy. This is not the end of the story, it is the unveiling of the promise. The why that haunted you is now shifting into the how of your blessing. And soon, you will look back and see it all as perfect alignment. Type Amen to get blessing 444. The hands that once pushed you down will have no power over your rising. The words that once broke your spirit will crumble in the face of truth. And the barriers that once held you back are falling away like dust. God says, you were never forgotten, you were hidden until the right time. You were never abandoned. You were preserved for this very season. You were never defeated, you were strengthened for the weight of the promise. Every test became your teacher. Every tear became your offering. Every moment of silence became your preparation. Now, nothing can stop what is unfolding. Nothing can block what has been written. Nothing can steal what is marked as yours. Type Amen to get blessing 555. The time of confusion is ending. The fog is lifting, and clarity is coming. The road that looked broken is straightening before your eyes. God says, your enemies thought they won when you fell. But your fall was only the setup for your greater rise. Your pain was only the seed for your harvest. You are stepping into a season where joy will flow like rivers. Where peace will stand unshaken in your spirit. Where abundance will follow every step you take. The door is open. The blessing is released. The time is now. Type Amen to get blessing 666. The waiting has tested your strength, but it has also preserved your promise. The loneliness has emptied your heart, but only to fill it with truth. The losses have stripped your hands, but only to place better treasures in them. God says, do not regret what left you. It was not meant to go where you are going. Do not fear what broke you, it shaped your strength. The betrayal that made you weep will be the very reason you rejoice. The delay that stretched you thin will be the very reason you expand. The pain that made you collapse will be the very reason you soar. The why is no longer hidden. The why is the seed of your breakthrough. The why is the doorway into your future. Type Amen to get blessing 777. The air is shifting, and your spirit can already feel it. What once seemed locked is now breaking open. What once seemed impossible is now bending toward you with ease. God says, the storm that nearly crushed you was also the storm that carried away what could not stay. The silence that hurt you was the same silence where angels were working in your favor. The waiting that exhausted you was the very waiting that aligned the perfect timing. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being remembered in higher places. You thought you were abandoned, but you were being hidden in divine protection. You thought you were broken, but you were being remade for greatness. Every step was intentional. Every tear was counted. Every sleepless night was part of the journey to this revelation. Type Amen to get blessing 888. The betrayals you endured were never to end you. They were mirrors that revealed the truth of those around you. They were doors closing so that the right ones could finally open. God says, those who hurt you are no longer in control of your story. Those who left you cannot stop what is rising for you now. Those who lied about you cannot silence the truth that heaven is releasing. You will be lifted above their words. You will be carried beyond their reach. You will be honored in places they never imagined you would step. The broken pieces of your past are being woven into a crown. The ashes of your sorrow are being molded into beauty. And the confusion of your yesterday is becoming the clarity of your tomorrow. Type Amen to get blessing 999. The road you walked was heavy, but it was sacred. The nights you cried alone were holy nights of transformation. The places where you bled are now places where you will shine. God says, the enemy thought the pain would finish you. But the pain birthed resilience inside you. The enemy thought the betrayal would silence you. But the betrayal